So I guess over the last week, Springfield Armory released a pistol called the Echelon. Kind of looks like an HK VP9, has a chassis system kind of like the P320 or the M17, but optics ready, 9mm with a lot of grippy stuff on the slide. Kind of been overplayed. Maybe it's a good gun. I have no idea. I haven't even watched a video on it. Smith & Wesson also released a new pistol in the M&P 22 Magnum. Kind of neat idea. Barrel is so flat it looks like Wile E. Coyote's foot when it got ran over by a box truck, but this thing has a whopping capacity of 30 rounds. Well, that just means I won't be able to get it in my state for a really long time. Over here at Cranky Gun Reviews, I don't care. You know what? I just got another new Charter Arms revolver. Let's give it a whirl. What? Well, new is a bit of a misnomer. It's obviously not new, but it's new to me. This is another vintage Charter Arms revolver. In this particular case, I scour my gun shop's websites in the used sections all the time, and every time a Charter Arms pistol comes up, I look at the serial number first, because they always show you at least the first 3 digits of the serial number. And if it's a 6-digit or a 7-digit serial number, I know it's a vintage Charter Arms pistol. If it has 2 digits and then a dash, I know it's a fairly new manufacturer. This one had a 6-digit serial number, and it was expected to be in the range that I like in the pistols that are made from Stratford, Connecticut, so I gave him a call. I told him to put it aside for me, and when I showed up to look at it, I was extremely impressed. The sales guy said that it was a stainless steel model and that it had a snub-nosed barrel, but I was happy to see when I showed up that it is a stainless steel, but a vintage stainless steel, not a new manufacturer stainless steel, and it actually has a 3-inch barrel. So for those of you that aren't aware the Charter Arms history, these stainless steel models from the old manufacturer from Stratford, Connecticut, were only made for a few years. From what I can gather, they started saying that they were made around 1980, and they may have only made them for 5 or 6 years before they went to all blued models, and then later in the 90s or early 2000s when they started making the cheaper looking stainless steel models that you see today. But again, this has the Stratford, Connecticut marking on the barrel, so it's in the vintage that I like. This has adjustable rear sights with a Patridge front sight. You can see that somebody has painted these sights. And just like my Target Pathfinder, the rear sight little screws that hold it in place were a little bit loose when I looked at it. Now, some of the best information I've been able to find about the Pathfinder comes from the Unblinking Eye. Here you can see that it was released in 1970, known as the 22 Pocket Target, and then shortly after that it was changed to the Pathfinder. For a short period of time, they offered the dual Pathfinder, which had a 22 long rifle and 22 Winchester Magnum cylinder. They released the 6-inch barrel later on, and then in 1980, they released the stainless steel model with a 3-inch barrel, which is the one that I have. Based on magazine articles that are on the Unblinking Eye, it appears that Charter Arms may have only actually started shipping the stainless models around 1982. In 1971, in Gun Digest, that was when it was first mentioned and called the 22 Pocket Target, later known as the Pathfinder. It's basically built on the same frame as the Undercover with a shortened cylinder, a 3-inch barrel, and adjustable rear sight. Most of them came out with blued finishes on them until 1980. Here again, you can see a little bit more information about the stainless steel models and the other models that were available in that time frame. This is another blurb from the Unblinking Eye that's talking about the products being released in Gun Digest and the possibility that the stainless steel Pathfinders might not have actually been released until around 1982. So if you want to pause this and read that, or go look it up on the Unblinking Eye. This is a blurb that I pulled out of a 1985 Charter Arms catalog that I purchased from eBay a while back. You can clearly see the different Pathfinder models on here. And again, if I zoom in, this is the actual model that I bought, 72230. And again, this is from 1985. You can see it on the bottom of the screen there, 3-inch barrel and stainless. Now, if you want some information about the year of manufacture on your Charter Arms, go to thehighroad.org and do a search. The Stratford, Connecticut models you can see here range from the 316,000 to the 1,088,000 serial number range, and all of mine that I have from Stratford are within that range. Now, if you remember back in previous videos from a couple of years ago when I started talking about my Charter Arms, you remember that I had this stainless steel Undercover. which again, if I look at the serial numbers and I date these two models, they appear to be both around 1984, give or take, based on the interpolation I've done from that serial number range. And these two serial numbers are less than 10,000 digits apart, which means there's a very good chance they were made at the same time, or at least within a year of each other. Now, if you look at the two of these side by side with the cylinders open, obviously you can tell that the 38 Special has a 5-shot 38 Special cylinder, and it has the regular trench rear sight with a ramp front sight. The Pathfinder has a 6-round 22 long rifle cylinder, which again you can shoot 22 shorts or 22 longs in, and it has adjustable rear sights that are adjustable for height and windage, and it has a Partridge style front sight, which is a little bit better than what you have on the undercover. Here you can see my vintage Pathfinder next to my modern manufacturer Target Pathfinder. Obviously the vintage one has a shorter barrel at 3 inches. The Target Pathfinder has a 4.2-inch barrel. You can see the difference in the frame. The vintage one has a stainless steel frame. The new one has an aluminum frame that looks like it's painted silver. The vintage one has an aluminum grip frame, where the new one has a polymer grip frame. And you can see the difference in the writing on the barrels. The vintage one appears to be stamped or roll marked, where the new one appears to be laser engraved. And if you look at the cylinders of the modern Target Pathfinder, that has an 8-shot cylinder, where the vintage one has a 6-shot cylinder. And the sights on these are very similar in the rear, with that fully adjustable rear sight, but the vintage one has that Partridge style front sight, and the new one has that crookedly mounted fiber optic sight. So yes, at any rate, I did buy another vintage Charter Arms revolver. In this particular case, this is a model that I had never seen before. I didn't even really know it existed because I didn't pay that much attention to it when I was reviewing my 1985 catalog. But this just goes to show that Charter Arms had some really, really good products all the way back into the late 1970s, early 80s, bringing stainless steel and a lot of these handguns at a very budget-minded price. And realistically, this thing was about $278 to $298 when it was new. I paid $299 for it out the door used, and it's in really good shape, so I think I did pretty well.